Rebirth your body, yeah. Chakras align. Relax and feel the vibe.
Still in shock, disbelief.
Capri Landfair was on a desperate search to find her son, Michael Doss II. He had been missing for days. Members of an organized search party found the man on February 24th, deceased in a garage in southwest Detroit. We were with the family doing a story when they found him.
What y'all saw, y'all needed to see. Y'all needed to see that. Y'all needed to see a mother looking for their missing baby. Y'all needed to see the pain and the grief.
Medical examiners ruled Michael died by suicide. He was just 25 years old.
He felt invisible to the world, not to me, not to his dad, not to his aunties and uncles and cousins. He didn't feel invisible. He felt invisible to society.
About 4 years ago, Michael started struggling with his mental health. First depression, then schizophrenia.
I need y'all to know the signs to look for. Like the lack of response, the unwillingness to do anything, the having to pull them out of the bed, the lack of not wanting to take medications. Like, I counted meds. Like, I did everything that I could do with my son. Like, I made sure he had therapy, and when that therapist wasn't working, went to the other therapist. There was nothing more that I could have done. I did everything that I could do.
There is a history of mental illness in Capri's family, and she's not afraid to talk about it.
My father committed suicide when I was 13 years old. And so I have experience with suicide.
And she's willing to talk about it to anyone who will listen.
We have to start having these hard conversations where, sweeping stuff under the rug, or, oh, he's fine or she's fine and they'll be okay. And no, you need to react on those things. There needs to be an urgency.
Licensed therapist Dr. Sabrina Jackson echoing Capri's sentiments.
When it comes to those things about our emotions and our mental health, people keep it silent. But anything that we keep in the dark will fester. It will grow. It will not get better. We have to shine a light on it for it to get better.
To the adverse childhood experiences that one has, right? And what we do know is that this childhood trauma can vary for everyone, and not. So there's studies that support that not everyone actually go through severe childhood traumas, but that everyone experience adverse experiences, right? As a child, experiences that impacts how you interact with others, that impact how your overall quality of life. And we know that this varies because we have some children who were born in very loving households to loving parents, and maybe their childhood trauma happened at school with people picking on them, right? And that would be an adverse childhood experience for them. But there's some people who go through very severe childhood experiences, very severe adverse childhood experiences, and that can vary, right? It can be so severe as sexual abuse, right? Physical abuse, neglect, abandonment. So it can vary, and for some people it can be so severe that it influences and impacts them for a lifetime, especially when not addressed. And even when addressed, sometimes the impact and the influence was so profound that it takes a lifetime readjusting to the triggers and also readjusting to create better behavior patterns, right? And so when we look at childhood trauma, we know that these adverse childhood experiences vary. So some people can experience a natural disaster and that be have a lasting impact on their life forever. I'll give you some examples of that. When you think about Hurricane Katrina, which happened in 2005, right, in New Orleans, Louisiana, and of course it happened, neighboring states had some impact, right? Like Mississippi had some impact. And in New Orleans, we had thousands of people to literally lose their life. They died in the flooding, in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. And so they did a study on residents of New Orleans, and in this study they found how how long the impacts and the effects of that natural disaster had on those individuals. And so when we think about some of the lasting impacts, we had some people who they vowed to never live in New Orleans again, right? They moved to neighboring states up north, Midwest, and they decided to never come back again. You know, I even had a friend's mom who said that she could not go through another hurricane, so she wasn't coming back to live again, right? And so those traumas, right, that form due to the experience of that national disaster is also an example of childhood traumas if it happened in your adolescent years. So if you experience Hurricane Katrina as a child and it had lasting impacts on how you view the world, view New Orleans, or living in New Orleans, or hurricanes, things of that effect, you can understand that is another example of childhood trauma. So we know childhood trauma can be physical abuse, sexual abuse, it can be national disasters, it can be neglect, the exposure to domestic violence. So when we think about children who grew up in homes where their parents were constantly fussing and fighting and they were exposed to that, that's another example of childhood traumas. So, and also simply being raised in a single parent household can have its adverse childhood experiences as well, right? So sometimes statistically was proven what tends to happen in single parent households, typically those parents have to work multiple jobs. They're not working one job just while the child is at school. So essentially these children tend to have to grow up faster. They tend to have to prepare their own meals and be very independent, right? And when I even think about my experience as a mother who didn't raise her son with the father, you know, just looking at my son's overall development, we know that that's, you know, it's connected to that experience of having a single parent. So their upbringing look different, okay? And this is statistically proven, but you're able to see this, you know, if you really pay attention to some of your friends and their movement and you connect it to their childhood, you can see the correlation between my behavior patterns now and how I was raised. You can see the behavior patterns. And so sometimes we're able to move past that, create some new behavior patterns, but a lot of times they impact us and they influence how we move in our behavior patterns for a lifetime. So the experience of having a father that abandoned me and was neglectful in his parenting, that can very well influence how I show up in relationships, how I show up as a parent. We have some parents who can be overbearing because of their own experience, right? So because of my experience, it hindered me from allowing my child to have, you know, go to sleepovers and how he interacted with others because of my own experiences. And this tends to happen to most of us. We look at our experience, and now because of those experiences, I am going to respond like this to the rest of the world. So you can see how those experiences can shape how you move in your intimate relationships, in your friendships, and even how you interact with yourself. And that's why it's very important to self-evaluate, because sometimes you can be taking on the energy that has been projected to you about yourself, right? So maybe you kept hearing that you were lazy. Oh, you're lazy, you're lazy, you're lazy. And so now you have identified with the laziness. You're like, yeah, I am lazy. That's why I don't get things done. That's why I'm not that productive, you know? So you want to be mindful of what you have learned from your childhood and how it is impacting you now, right? And so sometimes you have to reject certain beliefs that have been developed during that time. And you want to see how those beliefs are connected. Sometimes you need to acknowledge certain behaviors and then you're actively working to change it. So if you're dealing with procrastination, understand why the procrastination is there. Sometimes you're procrastinating because you don't realize that you're depressed. You don't realize that you're dealing with trapped stress in the body. You're dealing with trapped trauma in the body. And so your body can be responding to all of that stress and trapped trauma and abuse that you have not dealt with and acknowledged, and it shows up as procrastination, right? Sometimes it can show up as jealousy. You not being able to celebrate your friends and celebrate other people's happiness and success and joy can be very well connected to childhood trauma, to early on abuse and neglect and abandonment, maybe judgment. Maybe your parents was always comparing and contrasting you to people around you. All of that can very well be connected to certain inner conflicts that you're experiencing, okay? And so give you an example of those inner conflicts. So, growing up, people always, my mom didn't do this, you know, she did a very good job of never acknowledged that, right? But other people like aunts and friends and people, hairdressers. So what I'm referring to is experiences with my sister. Her hair was a lot more, I would say she had a lot looser curls, right? So people would always compare and contrast us. Oh, you know, CG's hair is so hard to deal with. It's so thick. It's so much. And, you know, I prefer doing Samaj hair. Oh, no. I'm going to do Samaj hair first. I don't feel like dealing with all that right now. So just hearing those experiences, right, of hearing that your hair is too much, it's too wild, it's too thick, it created an inner conflict with myself when it pertains to my hair. So once, probably like senior year in high school, I became literally addicted to always wear weaves, to the point where you never see, for a couple of years, you never seen my hair. Like, no one would ever see it. The day I would get a weave out, I would get a weave in. I had taken on those judgments and perspectives of my hair is too thick, it's too rough to deal with, so I'm just going to cover it all up every day. You're never going to see it, right? Because it's too hard to deal with. So I started telling myself, yeah, your hair is too hard to deal with, and you should wear weaves and wigs every day to help you. So that is the example of how you can take on those experiences in your childhood, those adverse childhood experience, and then internalize it and keep on those same thoughts for the rest of your life, right? And it can look different. Sometimes, another example, me having a child early, being a teenager pregnant, and hearing, oh wow, you're not gonna do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. It would have been very easy for me to take on those projections and say, you know what, they're right. There's no way I can finish school. There is no way that I can have a good quality of life, and having this kid early, no one's going to want to be with me. So you can easily take on those experiences and hold on to them and think that it is the complete sum total of who you are and how you are defined. And it's not. A lot of times we have to reject a lot of those experiences so that we can have healthy relationships with ourselves, with others, with friends, and have a overall healthy quality of life. And so, just recapping here, when we look at childhood experience, we know this can be physical, emotional abuse. It can be the impact of abandonment, neglect, witnessing or having exposure to domestic violence. Also, just the exposure to having a single parent has a lot of adverse childhood experiences. Some of us was raising our sisters and brothers. I literally got to witness. I had some friends, you know, a lot of things they couldn't do because they had to take care of their siblings. They had to. It wasn't like They were just helping out. They were parents. Some of y'all was full-blown parents at 8, 9. Some of y'all was full-blown parents at 7. I got to see y'all. Y'all was parenting for real, fixing bottles, cleaning and cleansing. Y'all wasn't, yeah. So all of that can have an exposure to that. I have a friend still to this day. She had been raising kids since her adolescence. She had to raise her other siblings since like 8, 9. And because of that hindered her from even wanting to have kids. She felt like she been raising kids already. So now, you know, as an adult, it's like, oh, it would be nice to have my own, but I've been raising them for so long, I'm not even ready. I still feel like I need this free time because I've been raising kids for so long. So all of that is just examples of childhood adverse experiences that definitely can lead to trapped trauma in the body, okay? And we're looking for more ways to release that trapped trauma, right? And so when we're looking at ways to release that trapped trauma, I cannot stress enough how important it is for us to at some point speak to a mental health professional. I can't stress that enough. A lot of us will never have that experience. That's what it says statistically. A lot of us are completely, even now with all the education about counseling and therapy and getting and seeking a therapist, even with all the information about that, many of us are still, based on the statistics, we're not going to go talk to a professional. And we need to. We don't even realize how hurt and in pain we are because we've been there for so long. I remember when I first started feeling better, I was so scared. I didn't even know. I was like, whoa. Wait, you can feel good here? You can feel good like in this playing field? I did not know. I have been in severe pain and stress and agony and depression for so long. By the time I started experiencing heaven, I was a little scared. Like hold up, whoa. Like, you starting to like you? You starting to enjoy this experience? You know, it was shocking. And that's some of us, when we get to that point, right, where we start dabbling in and feeling better, that in itself, we get so shocked, we start running from it. Like, oh no, nah, I'm not going to heaven. Please send me back where I was, right? Because you have been in that pain and agony for so long. You're so accustomed to that environment. Some of us are so accustomed to violence. It's so crazy. I had completely separated from watching television and movies for a while. Recently, while I'm studying, I started watching shows such as I think it's called BMF. I think that's what it is. BMF and some other shows. Basically it's these I can't even think of the names of them. Canaan, I think that's the name of it, or Book of something, whatever. So I started watching these shows, and I in the shows I be getting so scared. It be feeling so real. And I was telling someone hey, I hate watching these shows sometimes because I can feel it too much. I be becoming too emotional connected to whatever I'm watching. I'm like, oh no, I don't like the feeling of it. And it's because I have rejected violence for so long. Now when I'm exposed to, I'm like, oh my God, I'm terrified. Please, this is really scary. So, and some of us are still in a place where violence is so normal that we don't even flinch. It's like, oh yeah, that's normal. So when you get exposed to peace and high vibrational words, you're like, and I see this all the time where people are scared of hearing positive and peaceful and calming and relaxing affirmations because they have heard evil for so long. It shocks. It put the body in a shock. when they start to get some positive reinforcement, when they start to hear positive affirmations. I see it in children all the time. You can see the children who they're accustomed to getting cussed out. They're accustomed to hearing bad things about themselves. They're accustomed to violence. You can see it. Like, their first response be like, I'm about to whoop dude behind because he took my crayon. And that's what he about to get. You know, so when you see, and we see that experience in our adult behavior. Like, sometimes you having to check I literally have to check myself. And so me and my sister, she asked me to stop somewhere. We going through the drive-through line or whatever, and the lady was being so mean. And I was like, trying to do my best to be so nice. And then so my sister was like, I hate that you did that. Like, this lady is being mean to you and you insist on being nice to her. And I'm like, sometimes you don't know what people be at sometimes in life, right? Sometimes a person be so deep in their stress and their drama, their inner conflict, that they fighting demons. And like, here it goes, you have the opportunity to shed a piece of light for them. Sometimes they angry and mad for a reason. It don't have nothing to do with you. It don't. But they're angry and mad for a reason. So sometimes you gotta just really take a step back and look at your behavior and see what it's connected to. And really think to yourself, what ways am I actively trying to become better? So seeking therapy, counseling from a professional is always going to be something that I say 99.9% of us need. Okay, so first and foremost, therapy. Being connected to supportive individuals, supportive people, tribes, communities, whatever you want to call it. I love when I see women and they're like creating, this is a wife club, we're looking to be better wives. It's a bunch of wives came together to teach each other how to be better wives and how to listen to their husband more, be better partners. That is beautiful. You know, it's important to connect with people who are entering into a journey that's similar to yours, right? You're both looking to become better. We're accountability partners. Even when you're looking to become more physically fit, having a accountability partner, a girl you hitting the gym with, all of that works. Like, who's your account? Why you ain't hooking up with your homie and y'all going hit the weights at the work? You know what I'm saying? Instead of going straight home, y'all hit some push-ups and, so we want to connect with individuals who are also healing on their journey. You can tell that they're applying and developing habits that is helping them to tap into being their best version. You want to connect with those individuals. You want to connect with like-minded individuals. You want to develop healthy relationships with individuals who are striving to be their best selves. None of us are perfect. We gonna slip up. We gonna fall off. But individuals who are actively trying, they want to become better. They want to become more whole. How they show up in the world is important to them. They're looking to be a beacon of light for their community. Everybody can't go with you. Some of y'all so concerned about, me and such don't talk no more. So what? You elevating love? They can't come with you. Everybody is not going with you, okay? And stop trying to invite them all. They can't come. And you have to accept that. Sorry, sometimes I be getting passionate, guys. I don't know. When I get excited, I start stuttering, getting passionate, yelling. So I'm calm though. It's all peace, okay? So moving past that, moving past you building and developing healthy relationships with accountability partners, women and men who are on the same journey, a similar journey, right? They're tapping into their higher selves. They're looking to create a self-care evaluation plan. What does this look like? Develop a healthy relationship with yourself. How are you loving on you? How are you taking care of you? Me, I'm gonna get my sleep. I'm so serious about my sleep. I'm so hard up about my sleep. If I miss an hour on Thursday, I want to make up for it. Friday, I'm like, look, I gotta get 2 extra hours for the hour that I didn't have. Baby, we well rested. Being well rested is so good for your temple. It allows for you to be more productive. It allows for you to take in more oxygen. Your cells are being able to rejuvenate in your sleep and do more work for you, right? When you resting, it's killing toxic cells, killing negative thinking patterns. It's important. So you're getting your rest. You are feeding yourself on a chemical level. You are eating fruits and vegetables. You are taking in water. You are being mindful of the substances that you're including in your diet. You have your turmeric, your ginger, your hibiscus. You are literally looking at yourself on a chemical level. If you're dealing with high blood pressure, you have your plan, your diet, the beverages you take in is all connected to addressing that high blood pressure, right? That's how well you take care of you. When you look and you went to the doctor and they told you your iron was low, you're eating to address that, right? That's taking good care of yourself. You're making sure to get sun, spend time in nature, because you know this all takes care of you on a spiritual, chemical, emotional, and physical level. You're being physically active. Can't stress that enough. You're making sure to hop on the treadmill 30 minutes. Go take a 30-minute run, a bike ride, a walk in the park. You are being physically active at least 30 minutes every day. Right? Take good care of yourself. If you know, and this what I'm talking about, making a plan for yourself. You know your schedule best. You know what is best for you. I have a friend, she cannot work out in the evening. I work out in the evening. She can't do it. She like, look, if we gotta work out in the evening, I'm never gonna make it. I just can't do it. I have to do it in the morning when my energy is at the highest. I respect that. She know what is best for her temple, right? So she has made a covenant or agreement with herself to address her self-care in the best ways that she can. You are making sure you're giving yourself the nutrients that you need. That's what I'm saying on a chemical level. What is it that your temple needs, that your body needs? I was looking at this study, and the study was talking about how we should eat based upon our blood type. I thought that was so cool, right? And it broke it down on a cellular level. This blood type needs this more, and the reason is why. So you gotta really tap into your temple and see what you need, right? You know, some of us are, even if you are not into, like, let's just say you're not into bike riding, you're not into outdoor activities, supplement it. I mean, you like the gym, right? Or you like at-home workouts. That's why self-care looks different for everyone. Create a individualized plan that is geared to help you reach the goals and objectives that you have for yourself. I can't cook every day. It's just not happening, okay? So for me, having a meal prep day, having a day where I get the majority of the week's cooking is more effective for me. That just what works for me. I can't do it every day, okay? I'm not into it. So you got to see how to address it for your own self, how to address your self-care, but it's necessary, and it helps to deal with trapped trauma, stress and pain, agony, depression. It helps, anxiety, helps to deal with all of that, right? So moving into another aspect of self-care is practicing relaxation exercises, mindfulness exercises. This is journaling, vlogging about your day, about different experiences you have. This is meditation, this is yoga, this is stretching. So you want to be intentional. A lot of us say, oh yeah, I want to meditate more. I love how it makes me feel when I do, but I don't be doing it like that. but you know it makes you feel better. So put it in your plan, put it in your day, and get it done, right? That's what's going to help you to feel better. Understanding your childhood trauma, that's going to help you feel better, because it helps you really acknowledge your triggers. Sometimes I know when I'm being triggered, right? I know when I'm triggered. I got a brother, and you can feel a resistance already in me trying to tell you, right? So we can see how certain situations and people and experiences can trigger us. I have a brother, he doesn't answer my calls and texts the way I would like for him to, okay? This is triggering because it makes me think about the abandonment and the neglect that I experienced with my father, okay? So that's an example of a trigger. That's a real one. You can feel it. I'm not sure you can feel the emotion behind it, okay? So that is one of the triggers that that I'm addressing. And so with me addressing that trigger, I have to be mindful about how does that trigger impact how I show up in relationships, how I show up as a, show up in a community, right? So you pay attention to yourself, self-evaluate, really tap into how have these pains and certain sufferings and traumas that I have, these adverse experiences I have had, how does it impact how I move in the world now? Because you can see that a lot of your impacts and influences, it's connected to you not dealing with certain pains. Some of us showing up in relationships angry for things that happened years ago, way prior to this individual. So you just want to evaluate, because it's impacting your quality of life. It's impacting your quality of the relationships that you have, whether they are intimate or not. You don't realize how you showing up as a parent is connected to the experiences you have had. So here's to the best days of your life, loved ones. I hope that you are feeling well, and if not, I hope that you are actively finding ways to feel better. Here's to the best days.
Rebirth your body, yeah. Chakras align. Relax and feel the vibe. I'm feeling fine. Renew your mind. Rebirth your body at the, yeah.